Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda, and please welcome to our Operation Freedom platform, WeThePeopleProcessing.com. You know, are you tired of being threatened to be canceled just because you have a company focused on liberty and freedom? Well, worry no more, folks. WeThePeopleProcessing.com is your go-to merchant services, freedom-based company to provide business service payment solutions. We the People Processing provides their clients a cancel culture-free platform which is domestically based. They provide competitive rates, no contracts with next-day funding, a fully vetted and like-minded financial infrastructure, and full support for integrations, implementation, and e-commerce efforts. Bottom line, WeThePeopleProcessing.com focuses on defending your company's free market growth, values, and future. Check them out at www.WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Once you're on the site, enter in password Operation Freedom or call 855-499-2024. That's WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Then, when on the website, enter Operation Freedom as your password or call 855-499-2024. Thanks for tuning in, folks, and welcome back to Wayne Talk 1600's Operating Theater. It's the only OR in all talk radio. I'm Dr. Dave Janda, broadcasting from our ancillary bunker, linked to our main freedom bunker in the People's Republic of Ann Arbor. We're here for you every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern live. But it doesn't start and stop on Sundays from 2 to 5 Eastern. As we all see, unfortunately, since we've been doing this show for 12 years, the world events have sped up enormously. Normally, from one week to the next, I'd have about 6 or 7 issues to present on our radio show. Now, it's almost 6 to 7 every couple hours. And that's not a coincidence. This is a, if you will, operation, this in effect, to create the ultimate, a word that they started to use at the World Economic Forum of globalist cult members this couple weeks ago at Davos, Switzerland, a polycrisis situation. And that's why we are available 24/7 at davejanda.com with extra shows and extra content and extra guests and extra analysis. And what we do on davejanda.com is we go the extra mile. We go deep on those issues so we can put you not hours, not a couple days, but weeks and months, and in some cases years ahead of this globalist cult constructed curve that ends in a brick wall with the shattering of your freedoms and liberties. And through our website and this show, but in particular, the in-depth information at davejanda.com, we provide you an off-ramp, a road to freedom. So you don't take that globalist constructed curve and you don't hit that brick wall, but so you're on the road to freedom. And it's about education and empowerment. That's what we do. We have a tremendous amount of free public information at davejanda.com. But where the real meat of the matter is, because there are issues I cannot go into on any social media platform, that's YouTube, Rumble. Oh yeah, Rumble. Oh, there's many people believe there isn't a censorship, if you will, blocking of information on Rumble. No, it's occurring. Oh yeah, trust me, we've seen it just from our platform, and that's why davejanda.com exists. No censorship, full reign. On the radio, I can go so far. But because there are still deep state, what I call choke points in place in the FCC, if we go a certain distance on an issue, WHAM will be shut down, and we're not going to do that, which is why davejanda.com exists, and in particular, the subscription platform, 30 cents a day, $9 a month for priceless information to put you ahead of that curve. Bottom line, folks, every day and every week in our operating room, We dissect current events that are impacting you, your family, your business, our community, and our country. And we bring to our operating room information guests the bought-off, lamestream, fake media either ignores because it doesn't fit in their preconceived, politically correct, bought-off agenda, or because, folks, they're petrified. They are petrified of what might happen if they actually tell you what you need to know. This show is about your freedom, your political, your economic, your financial, and your health care freedom. This show, as I mentioned, has been in existence since October of 2010. And one of the main topics we have dissected at great depth for you to put you ahead of the curve is on the financial front. And, this week they want you, look in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's super. No, it's a balloon. It's a balloon. Folks, if there's one thing I have tried to teach you is when the right hand is showing you something, a shiny mirror, or in this case, a balloon, you always have to determine what is the left hand doing. That's the key. Much like for 3 years, we had it's Russia, it's a Russian collusion with Trump for 3 years as they were setting up with their left hand the COVID bioweapon and its jab to be released on the worldwide public with great destruction and death. Well, here we go with the balloon. And everybody distraction. Oh, look at the balloon. Oh, it's over Montana. It's over Missouri. What's the left hand doing? I can tell you what the left hand, one of the issues the left hand is working on is stripping you of your financial resources. They want you focusing on that balloon as they're taking down the dollar, as they're taking down the world economy. And that's why our first guest today is so important, because she has dedicated her life to your financial freedom, to put you ahead of the curve. And she's gotten a lot of grief for doing it, but she keeps doing it. Why? Because she cares more about your financial well-being than she does the safety and security of her own life. And that's a fact. Adriana Reed has been with the Camino company since 2011 as a trader. She is one of the principals in the Camino company and one of the most knowledgeable and honest people in the world in what the globalist cult does not want you to utilize as an insurance policy for your financial freedom. What is that? Precious metals. CaminoCompany.com. It's my honor to welcome back Adriana Reed. Adriana, welcome back to the Operation Freedom Show and platform.
Dave, thanks for having me.
So, Adriana, I want to run a quote by you from Chris Hedges. Quote, "We now live in a nation where doctors destroy health, lawyers destroy justice, universities destroy knowledge, governments destroy freedom, the press destroys information, religion destroys morals, and our banks destroy our economy," end quote. Your take?
Dave, I think it's probably the quote of the century, to be frank. What they've been doing to us has happened over the past 100 years, at least, this takeover that is happening of the United States and our liberties and our freedoms. You opened the show talking about China with the balloons and everything, and infiltration happens very at a long-term goal at this point in time. What we see warfare currently as, we're talking about modern warfare, and everything that you quoted just there is exactly what I would call modern warfare. The way to suppress people, the way to get people to do what you want. And the problem you have is because they have infiltrated us so effectively with our education system, it has made it so that people have fallen victim to this system. And what we need is people to rise up against it, so that we can take back our liberties and our freedoms, so that we can be, go back to old America, in the sense that we were a superpower, and we should still be, and we are, but we have to get back there.
Well, and Adriana, one of the ways they deceive us, one of the ways they distract us on the financial front is with fraudulent data. If you will, the balloon version of the financial market is fraudulent data. And we saw it this week on Friday.
Without a doubt.
Right? So they said, well, we're expecting 185,000 jobs. And the number came in at 517,000 jobs. And oh my gosh, I guess all those people we know were unemployed, and all those announcements from Amazon and Google and Intel and Microsoft about tens of thousands of people being laid off and all these closings, and drive by a strip mall in your community and see how that looks. I guess it's just our community, or it's just people we know, or it's just me, or it's just well, in fact, when you break that fraudulent number down of 517,000, it shows that of the 517,000 jobs created, 627,000 jobs were part-time jobs, and over 100,000 full-time jobs went away.
Yes.
And in addition, to get that 517,000 number, they added a bogey number, an adjustment number of 3 million jobs.
Yes.
So really, we're talking about 2.5 million jobs lost.
Exactly.
But they deceive people.
So what they're doing is they're deceiving people with the numbers, number one, but also number two, you and I are on the ground. And the problem you have with people in the government reporting is they have joined this elite cult that we talk about on a constant basis, that they're not on the ground, that they don't understand what people are going through. Right now, with inflation as high as it is, I know more people working 2 jobs than I've ever seen before in my entire life. Statistics came out, 40% of people are worse off under the Biden administration than they've ever been in the past 50 years. 40% of people. Now, people are working their tails off to make ends meet right now. They're working double jobs. They're finding part-time jobs. They're finding any type of way to make ends meet. Now, the rule of thumb for me is you can make $1 million a year, but what difference does it make if it costs you $2 million to live? And that's what we're experiencing right now. The quality of life in this country is decreasing heavily. The discrepancies between the poor and the rich the gap is growing and growing. They're taking out the middle class, and it's all intentional. And when you realize it's intentional, then you can get your foot ahead of them a little bit so that you can protect yourself and you can potentially save yourself from economic collapse in your own family.
And Adriana, the other way they deceive people and get them going the wrong way and keep them in paper assets that are in many respects backed by vapor.
Yes.
And keep people out of hard assets like gold and silver is they not only manipulate the data, but they manipulate the markets through their high-frequency trading and their algo programs.
Exactly. Technology is so advanced now that, it's almost impossible to trust everything that goes through the stock market, everything that goes through, fiat currencies. There's no hard assets that are attached to those, both of those. And it makes a huge issue when the crash comes. You'll have a stockbroker say, well, we didn't see it coming. Yeah, fiat currency has potential to crash as that we keep increasing our debt. And we right now are in talks over raising our debt ceiling as it is. And fiat currency is not backed by anything. Therefore, it's just as useless as toilet paper. I mean, it's equivalent of toilet paper at this point.
And on Friday, Adriana, as they manipulated the data, which is then plugged into their algos to manipulate, if you will, the underlying paper market of gold and silver. They dropped gold in a couple days' time, $100 an ounce. They dropped silver 10%, $2.20 some cents. But meanwhile, Adriana, that's what they did paper-wise. What was going on the physical side? Were you getting a lot of people calling you? Were you getting a lot of people walking in say, here's my gold, here's my silver, I want to sell? Were you tell us? So we all know the fraudulent paper side, which is what they use to try to keep people out of the financial insurance of gold and silver. What happened on the physical side?
Dave, I had nobody sell on Friday. I was on the phone from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I didn't even take lunch because I didn't have the time. We had people buying out the roof. The demand went out the roof on Friday, and I had nobody selling. Not a single person sold their metals on Friday.
So, Adriana, then we have this. Russia's intentions are clarifying from Alistair McLeod. We have confirmation from the highest sources that Russia and the Shanghai Cooperative Organization are considering using gold for Pan-Asian trade settlements, fully replacing dollars and euros. Adriana, while they're sending these little distraction balloons around, that people are getting panicked, everybody's worried that, and I understand the worry. Well, they might have an EMP on them. Oh, okay. Well, Adriana, while they're sending these distraction balloons around, they have already sent a financial EMP into the dollar, into our country, because they're in the process of taking down the dollar. And other than people that listen to this show or a couple other platforms, people are completely unaware.
Completely unaware, Dave. I mean, that's what they set us up for, is they set us up so that people would be completely unaware, who have no knowledge of what's going on, and they're continuing to live their lives as normal. What they're doing is we have to understand that Russia and China and sovereign countries have been buying gold for a very long time at this point to prepare themselves for this moment. It really is what it comes down to. They don't want the U.S. to be on top. Nobody does, frankly. People always shoot for the best, and that's what they're doing. And so what they're doing is they're trying to take out the U.S. dollar so they can change things around. You'll see the petrodollar will start to make some changes after this happens, too. If they start using gold for trading, the dollar will decline heavily, and it becomes a major concern for Americans at that point.
So, Adriana, take us through this process, because I was contacted again by a number of people this week. I said, I contacted my stockbroker, and they said, well, if I wanted to have precious metals, what I should do is I should just buy some paper gold and paper silver, these ETF funds, and I should not take cash out of my account to purchase precious metals because it's too hard to do. Okay.
Oh, God.
Please. So people, there are people awakening and realizing, and then they go to the people they trust. It's kind of like, going to the doc, and the doc says, yeah, get this jab. There's no downside to it. What?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Educate our listeners on the process.
So there's a few things that I want to break down just in the general sense of things on why you would want to buy physical precious metals. Let's take 2020, for example. Lots of people, when the lockdown happened, we also in California have rolling blackouts. Accessibility to currency became a major issue for a lot of people. On top of that, if you have issues of the dollar is going up and down, it does inevitably, and it's not going to be here forever. I hate to even say that as a proud American, but at some point, if things keep going the way they're going, we won't even have a U.S. dollar anymore. It will change. That's number one. Number two, when you own a physical currency, you own that currency. You take physical possession of it. Therefore, it's yours. The bank does not have possession of it. Nobody has possession of it but you, and it's yours and it belongs to you. And I'm adamant about that during this time right now, especially because it seems that everybody wants to attack us from every sector, especially the banking sector. So for me, I'm trying to reach out to as many Americans as I possibly can to help protect you, to get you ready for what's to come, because I do believe that things, unfortunately, are going to get worse before they get better. Mm-hmm. You can go ahead and give us a call, and we'll walk you through the entire process. When you call us, you talk to one of the traders. We'll talk about how much you're capable of spending. Right now, we are recommending that you have gold and you do have silver. The reason I highly recommend silver at this point is I think that it's heavily manipulated. Obviously, you feel the same way. We know the Deutsche Bank has been prosecuted for manipulating our market. So for those who say that I'm lying, I'm not. It's people are on paper being prosecuted for manipulating our market. I also recommend having silver because we don't know how far this is going to go. And in Venezuela, they had to trade with silver. And people have to realize that Venezuela was the third richest country in resources before they had their fall from grace. And silver was being used, and it got people 3 months worth of food. So I want everyone to prepare for that. I hope it doesn't get to that. I pray to God it doesn't get to that, but I want to prepare for that. So you call, you can talk to the traders. We'll recommend that you have gold and silver. You purchase, we lock in all the prices at that time. You send payment, and then we send you the physical precious metals. When you have those precious metals, my recommendation is that you do find a safe way to store them in your home. Get a safe that's, screwed into the ground, or somewhere that you feel very comfortable, you feel that it's safe there. I do not recommend putting it into any banking system. Do not put it in a safety deposit box. You don't have access to it. And you have to remember who's the other person who has the key to your safety deposit box. It's Jamie Dimon. He's the other person that has the key to your safety deposit box.
And just look at COVID, yes. as you said, Adriana, during COVID. Banks were locked down. You couldn't get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a friend who they've had to make an appointment 3 months out to have access to their safety deposit box. So I do not recommend this to put it back in the banking system. What we're doing is we're fighting the banking system. So do not put your money back into their power. Once you take possession, though, I do recommend you do have in your home. The other possibility is you can always look in your area, is a privatized depository is a great option too. And you can Google them. I do believe you utilize Brinks, but I'm not 100% sure that Brinks actually is allowing storage of precious metals anymore. You'd have to check with them at this point in time on where they stand. But finding a local depository that is privatized is another great option.
And Adriana, one of the other issues that came out this week again is some folks contact me and said, I have most of my resources in an IRA. And I contacted my broker, and the broker said that you cannot purchase physical precious metals for an IRA. Educate our listeners on that particular issue, because I don't believe what those brokers were telling their clients was absolutely accurate.
It's not true at all. You can't purchase with their company because they're part of the banking system, so they won't allow it. What you can do is you can do an IRA rollover there are many IRA companies that do allow the purchase of precious metals. And on top of that, they're typically self-directed, which means that they want you to be knowledgeable of what you're doing. So they put the power back in your hands. And I can set up a phone call with anybody if you want to talk and go over IRA potential. I'd be happy to go over it with anybody, but it's absolutely allowed and it's not true. So please do not listen to your broker.
And in fact, if it is, tell me if I'm wrong on this. If it is, if you do purchase precious metals, physical precious metals for your IRA, you cannot keep them in your house, or you cannot keep. They have to be held by a custodian, correct? That's
correct. So they do utilize depositories across the country that are very great depositories. So one of the things that I say in the general sense, when you have to we have to pick our battles. Would you want your IRA in fiat currency, or do you want your IRA in precious metals being stored? Either way, they have to keep possession of your money, but you have to pick between the two. That's really what it comes down to.
We're speaking with Adriana Reed from the Camino Company, CAMINO, CaminoCompany.com. Adriana, educate our listeners on, you've been in the business, as I mentioned, many years. Yes. Educate our listeners on the biggest mistake people make when it comes to precious metals.
Absolutely. Now is the time to prepare. And the downtime, and when we have downtime, when things don't seem like we're in turmoil, for example, when you were able to report 6 to 7 events every once in a while, not the 6 to 7 events every hour, those are the best times to buy. And there's still time. And I recommend that everybody have some portion of your financial wealth in precious metals. I think it's absolutely critical. For me, myself, I'm 33 years old. I have 4 children, and I want to live a great life here in the United States, and I protect myself constantly with precious metals, and I recommend that you do the same.
And how can folks contact you?
Absolutely. So you can reach out. We have CaminoCompany.com. If you spell company all the way out, you can reach us there. We have a contact us. We also have a 24/7 store. Or you can give us a ring at 348-8001. We're open 9 to 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. And you can also email me at adriana@caminocompany.com. And the last thing before I sign off here, Dave, I do have to say I'm a very, very proud mother. So it is my oldest daughter's birthday. So I just would like to say happy birthday to my oldest daughter before we go.
Is this the basketball star?
It is, yes.